Yeah, welcome to another episode of Things You Shouldn't Buy.
Yep.
My co-host, Dada. What's that about? So,
Yes.
tell them about a Straight Talk Wireless.
Well, got it. Called the folks and I asked them very specifically, told them where I was moving to, gave them our address, and said, will your service work at that location? You're going to have great service. Okay. Well, then we got here and it don't work at all. I mean, zero, finito, nothing. All right. So I call and they tell me that, well, you moved from your zip code to a new zip code, so we're going to have to change your number.
Because we all have 423 numbers.
Well, I only had that number for 9 years. So I really wasn't wanting to change my number. And they were like, well, you got to. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Since I got to, I better get my phone working. I'll just deal with it. Okay. Do all that. Jump through all those hoops. Phone still don't work. So now I'm really not happy. So I go back. I call again. Now keep in mind, for me to call somebody,
we have to drive 45 miles to Bluefield, Virginia.
I got to drive all the way to Bluefield, Virginia to use the phone, to get a phone call to go through. So I did that. I spent 4 hours yesterday.
Right around 4 hours.
Right around 4 hours arguing with them folks on the phone. And finally I said, well, listen, it's obvious that, because they're like, well, let's troubleshoot it. Okay, let's troubleshoot it. And then they come back and they said, okay, what you're going to need to do is you need to dial *73. Don't push send. All right. And then after you do that, take your SIM card out. No, dial *73. Cut the phone off. Take your SIM card out. Leave it out for 2 to 5 minutes. Put your SIM card back in. Turn your phone back on. And it should work. Well, it didn't.
I said that was the most retarded idea
Yeah,
I've ever heard of.
I was still trying to be polite at that point. So I was like, okay. So I go back up on top of the mountain. And I call them again. I'm like, look, the phone still ain't working. I had to drive another 35 miles to get the phone to work. Phone still don't work. So, well, let's troubleshoot it.
Again.
I said, okay. All right. Then they's like, well, we got this problem fixed. I said, okay. Now, I'm not a phone guy. Okay. I know some about them. I know, how to buy them and sell them. I know what a good phone is. I know what a bad phone is. Yada, yada, yada. So I'm like, all right. So then I go back and I'm like, okay, now what? And they're like, okay, we're going to dial *73 again, cut the phone off, leave it off 2 to 5 minutes, and then cut it back on. I said, okay, I've already tried that, and that didn't work. I dialed *73, I cut it off, I pulled the SIM card out, that didn't work. I changed my number, that didn't work. So why won't it work? Well, I don't know. I said, well, here's the thing. I said, I would like to get my phone unlocked so I can take it to a carrier that it will work on. And that way, I paid for the service. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let you have that money if you'll just unlock my phone and we'll go that route.
Because we make content for a living.
And so I'm like, and she said, well, you're going to have to talk to corporate. I'm like, okay, fine. And so I talked to the people at corporate.
So we talked to April at the corporate
office.
Y'all remember?
April.
Y'all remember that?
Yeah,
April.
April. Probably wasn't her name, but that's what she went by yesterday.
And she didn't speak good English.
No, she didn't speak good English. It was well, it wasn't a little broken. It was a lot broken.
If you held a gun to her head and said you have to speak good English, you would just have to shoot her.
Yeah, you just have to shoot her. She couldn't do it. So, went through that, and I talked to April, and I'm like, look, I said, I've already done all this troubleshooting. You know, I'm having to drive an hour to use my phone to where I can even find out what to do next. I've jumped through all the hoops that y'all wanted me to jump through, and nothing has worked. So I would like for you to just unlock my phone. I'll take my phone to another carrier. I'll give you the money that I spent on the phone, and we'll just call it a day. But you're going to have to wait 60 days. I said, no. I said, I'm not paying for something that won't work.
We make content for a living.
I said, I've got to have a phone that works. I said, I'm behind on making content. I said, so I'm not going to get 3 days worth of revenue. I'm not asking you to recover my revenue. I'm just asking you to unlock my phone, which won't cost you a dime. Well, we can't do that. You have to wait 60 days. I said, you sure that's the road you want to go on? Yes. I said, okay. I said, well, before you decide, I said, well, you took the right to go down this road. I said, I took the left. I said, in my road, I'm going to call the FCC and register a complaint for misrepresentation by your company. I said, I'm going to call and report how y'all treated your customers with the news. I'm going to call the newspaper. I'm going to take out ads. I'm going to build a website to let people know that how www.straighttalkscrewedme.com. And that way, everybody can see the interactions that I've had with Straight Talk, and they can all know how I got done, and that way they can make an informed decision.
Now, you talked to on the chat thing.
Yeah, I did that Thursday
at a local grocery store.
They had Wi-Fi that I could use I couldn't make a phone call, but I could use the chat.
As a matter of fact, you still got it, don't you?
Yeah. No, not on that phone.
Not on that phone?
No. But I got it. I talked to them for 3 hours, and they were like, okay. Now, I could send my wife a message on the Wi-Fi.
He could send me a message on the Wi-Fi.
I could send him a message on the Wi-Fi.
But couldn't make no phone calls.
But Straight Talk couldn't send me a verification code on the Wi-Fi. Now, figure that one up. Then I go back, and finally I went to T-Mobile, in which T-Mobile's not great. I mean, it's not.
It ain't great, but it'll work.
But I ain't got to drive 40 miles to make a phone call. I can drive up the street. Now, I got internet that'll be here Friday. Once my internet gets here Friday, everything will be golden. I won't have no problems. I just got to wait till Friday comes. So, you know, is it a fixable thing? Yes. Am I liking having to wait this long? No. Am I going to make more content about how Straight Talk did me? Oh, hell yeah. Because this ain't over. Not by a long shot.
Nope.
You know, I'm a man of my word. If I tell you I'll do something, whether it's good for me or not, I'm going to do it because I gave you my word.
That's the way he raised me.
And that's the way I raised him. You know, if you shake hands with a man and you tell a man that you'll do it, then if it's good or bad,
then do it.
You got to do it. So I got misrepresented because I wouldn't have bought something that wouldn't work. I would have done something else.
But anyway,
we'll have to get back to you.
All right. But anyway, don't buy Straight Talk. Now, let the body set the floor.